Welcome back, nerds. Hope you enjoyed the ads over the break because that's exactly what we're talking about in tonight's deep dive. Kate, play the most unskippable of ad breaks. Do that, dude. Well, it's certainly nice to see the world getting back to normal. One thing people haven't quite adjusted back to is the internet invasiveness and ingenuity of modern advertising. Case in point, the Halo drones at South by Southwest. As younger generations begin to stray away from cable TV and radio, companies have had to find new and innovative ways to reach customers. Some of these methods have proved to elicit more negative reactions than positive, while others have dumpsters diving for promotional Kirby Target Ball covers. I wasn't one of those, I promise. So tonight we're going full mouth mode on the future of advertising and the effects it may have on the things we love.
That's two. Is that three?
Oh yeah, we gotta do our full mouth mode counter.
Yeah, our full mouth mode counter. Anyways, guys, let's see. Nelly, what's the biggest shift you've seen in advertising trends over, let's say, the past 10 years? Like, what are differences in ads we saw as kids versus what we're seeing now, and have these changes been for better or for worse?
Oh man, I would say probably the biggest overall shift is where advertising is happening, right? We used to see a really, really good core list of print and media ads. We knew it was going to come out in a magazine, come out in a paper, or it was going to come out on TV, right? Like that's. I feel like social media is so inundated, but also the upcoming generation, right, Gen Z, don't want to consume that kind of media anymore, right? They don't want to feel like they're being advertised to or we're being advertised to. So I think the biggest shift that I've seen is just how personal advertising has become. It's a part of your social media. It's sitting next to your family photos. Like, it's in there. It's super, super deep.
That's so true. It literally is that invasive is next to you and grandma and ma and Christmas, just you, and then where you can get new tires now.
Yeah.
It completely killed the
trip to see grandma.
Yeah, exactly. Also completely killed the Super Bowl ad, right? Sav, what do you think? What do you think's the biggest shift to see? Is it better or worse? What's going on?
I think one of the biggest changes that I've noticed, straying away from, I guess, necessarily of how we see it or where we see it, is how much we see when we see it. I guess what I mean to say is, like, I remember, because I am X years old, like things I like infomercials and QVC specials of like they pay for an hour or 30-minute to an hour-long time slot on like cable television, which of course is its own like archaic concept at this point. Of where literally they take every single one of those minutes to try and get you to sell a specific product, or like to get you to buy a specific product. If anything from like a household cleaner to a collectible dish set, like we're talking full like episodic length commercials essentially. And now we've gone from that to shifting all the way to like a TikTok ad break, which is at most 15 seconds. Because after that, you'll lose people. We just don't have the long-term attention span to consume like advertising media anymore.
Or literally just a TikTok that they just turned into an ad.
Exactly. It's like when you think about how like salesmanship has like used to work. Like it would involve someone who would like at times would be driving cross country, stopping at certain towns and spending days and weeks and months and like trying, basically just doing one big long ad campaign trying to get people to buy something. There's this person spending 2 hours in your home minimum. It's like a social engagement. Like we've gone from that to 20 seconds on an app that you have to get your real information in the first 10, because after that they can skip the rest of it. Like you've had to hyper focus your message and the what you want to sell, how you want to sell it and what information you need to cover. It's like you have to get it in 3 sentences.
Yeah.
Like that's where we're at now, and just seeing that dramatic shift, it's just like I was watching live cable TV and the other day, watching something like it was the Super Bowl or something, and I'm like, I was kind of taken aback by like the frequency of like actual commercials still. I'm like, there were like 4 in a row, and I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like I've become the micro consumer who can't have that attention span for full length ads anymore.
Yeah. Me and my girlfriend, we watch Jeopardy just about because I'm an old person. So we watch Jeopardy, and man, those ads between Final Jeopardy and Double Jeopardy are like almost 10 minutes long.
Oof.
Like we record it and watch it afterwards.
Does anybody remember? I'll go down this rabbit hole for just a moment. Does anybody remember those like Time Life CD collections that like were always themed around a particular music, and like they were either like 80s rock ballads or love songs, you know, classic Hollywood tunes, like. It's I'm surprised as an adult how many parts of how many 80s love ballads that I know because it was the 15-second snippet during one of those Time Life commercials.
Only that part.
And now the 80s Wave Greatest Hits CD featuring Human League. And
I know so many 8-second bars of so many songs by heart.
The original TikTok audios.
The original sounds of TikTok.
Yep.
Like, man, okay. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah. Okay. All that being said, what makes the good ad? Is it Vin Diesel family memes, berries and cream, TikTok? What is a fair ad? What's the difference? Sav, let's go with you again.
I guess to me, the best ads are and this is not necessarily a positive thing, but the best ads are the ones that are memorable. Like, if you want to make a really good ad, you have to me, you either have to make something really catchy or really, really goddamn annoying. You have to be able to occupy a space in a person's short to long-term memory span rent-free for at least like 2 weeks. Like, that is the threshold of like creating an ad, is like how long you can just plant that little bug in someone's head, enough to reach your metric of like views or like extensive like advertising, like links, like that sort of thing. Like some of the best jingles and the best like ads and commercials and stuff that I remember to this day, it's not because they were good. It's not because I liked the product. It's because I was scratching my head at the end of the commercial or ad spot going, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
Like, berries and cream lifesavers, I think, are a wonderful example of this.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
What?
I feel like that every time I watch a Taco Bell commercial. I'm like, how?
I've eaten a lot of candy.
Who comes up with this?
And I've never, ever broken out the Renaissance leggings as a result. But, like, that's what that commercial was. And so help me, we're still talking about it 25 years later. Or however long ago it was.
Yeah, it left an imprint on all of us. Nelly, what do you think makes for a good ad? What?
I think the only truly great ad is the K9 Advantix puppy ad. I just want to leave that there. Hello, mother. Hello, father. Please take
Meow
the
mix.
mosquitoes.
I raise you, meow mix.
That's right. It's
meow,
the
meow,
jingles.
Meow, 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 meow.
For me, a good ad can't stand alone as just an ad anymore, right? It's not just a really, really good, like you see in like Mad Men or like it is creating a full lifestyle and creating almost an ecosystem. Like you mentioned Taco Bell earlier, and like one of my favorite pieces of marketing, it's Taco Bell, and now that I have to say her name, of course I can't remember her name, but Doja Cat. Taco Bell and Doja Cat are... She's being paid to advertise, and it's being ridiculous. We lost Ryan. He's back. He's beautiful. We love him. Hello.
Welcome back, Ryan.
Amazing.
This was sponsored by Skype.
Yeah.
Dramatic interrupt.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of my favorite things because I feel like one of the biggest turns that we've seen in advertising, to even touch on the earlier point, fucking berry, you got banned because you put all that berries and cream shit. That's all you have. Yeah, they were like, we're not fucking doing that today. But I think people get so turned off when they know they're being advertised to.
Absolutely.
I was watching like a Marie Kondo like interview one time. She was talking about the reason that she repackages things is because she doesn't want capitalism to take up space in her home. How like every single thing on her advertisement, and she was sick of it. Yeah.
That makes sense, because I had always wondered that. Like, I saw those TikToks kind of like getting on people about, it comes in a box, you know, like why are you putting your Cheerios in one box into another box, you know, and it looks nice. Yeah, but no, I guess that makes sense. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, but also Marie Kondo has now made a complete ecosystem out of it. So when you see a really organized home, that itself is now an advertisement because it's part of the lifestyle brand that she built.
Wow.
Like, think about how nuts that is.
Very meta.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
It's unsettling meta. I just like Tupperware because it stacks nicely.
No one's cleaning their closet anymore, right? You're Marie Kondoing your closet. Whether you're really doing the condo method or not, that's the thing that you say.
I mean, I practice the Marie Kondo brand by folding fucking laundry. It feels like I took my clean pile and folded it and put it in drawers and stuff. I'm Marie fucking Kondo at this point.
Yep. She's become a part of the ecosystem, and that to me is
right.
Ecosystem that lives on forever.
Well, and I guess at the end of the day, we just have to make sure, does this ad spark joy? And if it doesn't spark joy, Nelly, is that when the ad becomes too invasive?
I would argue there's an ethos to it. So like the Marie Kondo one, right, is done with at least good intention, which is different. Versus even like a Taco Bell one is trying to that sound makes you want Taco Bell,
Taco
right?
Bell just knows how to get the stoners, man. They know their audience and they go into it. Yeah.
If they just bring back Mexican pizza.
Oh my God.
Chef's kiss.
The nacho fries for me, I don't know why, but I fucking love those. It was literally just fries with Old Bay seasoning, but it was fucking delicious.
I
like taco seasoning, sorry.
I was a cheesy gordita crunch kind of guy.
That's fair. I'm gonna lay this one out for you, Kev. If you like the nacho fries, you will love the mini loaded tacos from Jack in the Box.
Yeah. You gotta get them during peak hours though, because they will let those sit under the warmer for entirely too fucking long, and you will be very disappointed.
It's true. And now to bring it back. Now to bring it back in, as we've given all these companies free advertising. Look at like the concept that they made. I think there are parts of advertising that are ethical and parts, right? Yeah. So to me, it creeps fuck out when I'm like talking about something, and it's probably going to happen after the show. I'm going to go onto Facebook. I'm going to go onto Google. I'm going to go onto TikTok. I'm going to see an ad not out in any place, right? Yeah. Like nowhere have I been like, like that is so weird to me, and that to me is where it gets unethical. Or if it's a good ad but it's not honest, right? Like there's a lot of ads that, and I'll argue America's probably the worst for it because we have probably the least regulation overall. Like we were talking about ad breaks in Japan, it's very common for a show to be 20 minutes and then 10 minutes of ad, and that's the 30-minute segment. Like that's how the shows are done out, instead of it becoming part of what you're watching and enjoying. And also other countries don't advertise for medicine like we like this conversation changes like it's weird. Advertising for medicine is unethical. That's how I feel.
Well, I mean, that whole system is unethical, but that's another conversation that I don't think.
That's another deep dive.
On Geeklife. Screw that topic. Fuck Big Pharma.
Sav, when does the ad start to become too invasive for you? When are you weirded out by it?
Okay, so for me, the when the robots are listening to me and it pops up on like a random like on my Facebook feed, like
Mm-hmm.
that's a little
Mm-hmm.
alarming. But honestly, I would be completely dishonest if I said that sometimes I'm like, oh, how convenient. I was just talking about that thing. I need to do more research. Thank you for listening to me,
Yeah,
robot
it
ads.
sucks, but
It
it's
sucks,
also kind
but
of convenient.
yeah, it's the shittiness of convenience in this case.
Yeah.
For me, it becomes not necessarily you could argue unethical, but for me personally, it becomes least convenient when, say, like I'm a person who consumes a lot of their media through their smartphone or through
Mm-hmm.
the internet, and
Yep.
being one of those people, especially when I'm using like a smartphone interface, it's literally like more than 8 inches away from me at any time, and I have a panic
Right.
attack. That's who we are.
Yep.
For me, ads become a bother when they become invasive on my retail viewing space. So, say I have a browser window or some kind of app open on my phone, and if I'm seeing ads come up in such a way and at such a rate that there's like I don't even have page visibility anymore, that's the point where I'm like, okay, this is the level of advertising that is stupid.
Yeah.
Because you're shooting yourself in your foot because you're oversaturating your audience and you're preventing them from what they're actually trying to do, and to me that's counterintuitive to wanting people to buy your product because you're inconveniencing them by trying to advertise to them with it. Now I draw a defining line in language there between when an ad is annoying to me versus when an ad is unethical, because obviously
Mm-hmm.
I'm not measuring my personal standards as like some sort of ethical high bar. I mean, in some
Right.
ways, sure they should be, but whatever. And for me, ethics become part of the question when, especially in my opinion, kind of with what Nelly was saying, is a lot within children's media. Like I know there are certain European countries where you're not allowed to advertise fast food in the middle of
Mm.
children's programming hours. You're not
Oh.
allowed to advertise things like medicine in the middle
Yeah.
of children's programming blocks, and I think that's actually a good line and precedent to set, because
Yeah.
like there's then subliminal marketing that comes in there. It's like
Right.
you're including messages to children about things that they should eat, things that they shouldn't eat, and they're not using that information, or they're not using that practice positively. In my case, you're trying to get them to
Right.
buy something, not to like educate. And
Right.
that to me is when advertising starts becoming less ethical, is when you're taking out any sort of educational premise and you're literally doing it just for the sale drive.
Right.
Yeah, so that I definitely want to expand on because it's a huge topic that's going on right now in the toy industry. Y'all know that that's my background, it's my working profession. If you subscribe to like the Toy Book or something, which I think everybody can do, you will have seen that the lead article this month was about the future of advertising on YouTube for
Oh.
toys for kids specifically, because YouTube put out a huge, I mean, just like overarching thing that your YouTube channel cannot be basically a commercial to kids without the same
Oh.
regulations.
Welcome,
There are a
Ellen.
ton, yeah, there are a ton of companies in point who are building out YouTube channels that look just like regular videos, children as commercials that pop up just throughout like recommended viewing instead
Yeah.
of being an advertisement that has to be viewed, regulated, and be put in the middle of other videos. And
Yeah.
that to me is where it gets. Advertising now isn't just social media and other video platforms.
Mhm.
So advertising now looks the same as the Zoom, right?
Right.
It's the exact same content in the exact same place in the exact same setting. And what does that mean for how we regulate advertisement, right? All of the laws that that versus the way that we regulate just actual like regular content. Those circles are becoming very, very Venn diagrammy, and it's
Mhm.
really, really wild.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's-
No.
it- mm.
You definitely kind of like. Yeah. I don't know. That's a lot to chew on. But yeah. So I guess we've seen just sort of how like the changing in advertising, not just through the decades, but even more like just at a more rapid pace, just the shift in how advertising is being sort of used, how it's being displayed, or just even like in the messaging or how it's even being advertised. But do you guys think COVID has impacted how we market things? If yes, how so? So I have to start with you.
Yeah, yeah. You have a face. I don't know if it's a thinking face or a saying face.
It's a weird mix of the two. So I think we're at a point in our chronological timeline where we're starting to be able to view some of the longer effects and metrics of how COVID affected the way we consume media, about how we consumed products, how we consumed information. We're as of this month, we're pretty much like a solid, like, I think this is the 3 years down the road of when shit's between now and then of like when we were real world to now. Especially like when you view the lens of occurrences of events like South by. And I think one of the things that we're starting to finally be able to see kind of coming from that is that people want, when people are trying to consume information or consume media or find a product, advertising is very useful. I feel like a lot of advertising now is being misdirected in the sense that you're trying to appeal to people who are already using or seeking your product, and in doing so, you're making a person annoyed with the process. Let me build out. If I'm to build out an example here, say I'm searching for a particular type of product on Amazon. I'm searching for a shower head, for instance.
Random example. No one knows why.
So that's what I'm searching for on Amazon. I'm not looking for anything huge, specific, or nuanced. I find a product I'm ultimately satisfied. I purchase it, and it's done. But because of the way advertising works, especially when it comes to a lot of developmental algorithms and purchasing applications and ad bots and how these systems all talk to each other now, is I bought a shower head, and for the next 3 weeks on all of my social media, Instagram, Amazon, Facebook, Twitter, fucking LiveJournal at this point, I'm going to see ads for Moen products until like this time next year as a result. And that is where I think advertising is missing the mark, because they're starting to trust too much of it to algorithms. And what those algorithms are missing is when a person is ultimately satisfied with the use of that product, like, they don't stop. And and the long-term result is I hope I never have to do any major plumbing work again for the next, like, at least decade, because I know I'll never be able to stop fucking thinking about it again.
And not only that, like, I just bought like a fucking, like, I just bought some headlight bulbs, off Amazon. Why are you still showing me headlight bulbs? Like, why there should be, like, I feel like the algorithm's backwards. Like, it's not supposed, it's too reactionary. Like, there should be complementary or supplementary pieces or items, not the thing I just bought just by other people.
and I feel like, I guess, to bring my point full circle and how COVID has affected this, is like, so many people, especially during COVID, were so heavily reliant on the internet shopping magnate that has kind of been built over the past decade, that now that any interface, electronic or otherwise, that is in any way connected to any of their personal media is now, like, anytime they buy anything, they're just constantly re-inundated of just, like, purchasing more things, having to purchase it again. Like, it's like, and it's basically changed the way our brains are thinking, because we became so reliant on remote shopping that now it's like remote shopping won't leave us alone. It's like when you accidentally give your phone number to that one person at a bar because you were maybe a little too drunk and you thought that maybe they were a decent person, but then you looked at their Facebook and realized they're crazy. That's what ads are becoming.
Yeah, that's true. They really follow you home.
Literally, they're listening to our conversation right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did you know that about me?
I'm gonna bring up one that I completely, Cape has reminded us in chat, is, remember that girl algorithm predicted that she was pregnant before she knew, and she started receiving pregnancy stuff in the mail. That was
Yeah.
super wild.
Yeah.
But I'm going to argue a slightly different effect that I think affects why this problem has gotten so bad, and I think it's a general company problem. When COVID hit, a lot of major retail companies narrowed their field of employees, right? And one of the first people who got hit from that was kind of helper people. And that primarily exists in things like SEO, advertising, people of that nature. And so a lot of the people who are handling don't know how to build out proper ad campaigns. I'm going to say it because I was in a company who had that problem. I did not know how to build out an ad campaign. That was something I'd never done before. So a lot of the things that I put in was like, oh, well, that's the kind of thing you're interested in, right?
Yeah.
And like you run it for the companies are going to recommend that amount of time because they want to make money off of that ad space. And that was a feedback that we actually got. We were like subject base kind of customers who then told us that that was happening directly, because even when they were filling it out through like Google Ads and feedback, we weren't hearing that from our Google ad reps. That was just kind of getting lost in the world. And so I think a part of that is also that this industry has grown so huge and no one's willing to pay for the people who specialize in it. So it's just being mismanaged. It's like an entire culture around mismanaged ad space.
So for the future of advertising, do you think that changes? Do you think that gets better? Like, well, I guess, what is the future of advertising? Like, we've seen what, Paramount has done. You've seen Nintendo's done for Kirby. Where does this go next? What do you think that not necessarily the next frontier, but what do you see like the next step in the evolution of advertising? Is it the metaverse? Like, where are we headed? God said cigarettes back in movie.
Probably.
Honestly, you're probably going to start putting ads on your cigarettes, Daz. Like, you're going to be smoking it, and you're going to be like, what the fuck?
That used to be a thing. It legitimately used to.
Yeah, I remember you used to be able to get coupons on the inside of the cellophane that your cigarette pack would be wrapped in. And oftentimes, most of the time it would be for other tobacco products. Camel was relentless about it. Especially during their snus campaign, which was like their chewing tobacco packet things. But like ads that hidden behind the labels of products, like that was totally a thing that tobacco companies were huge on. But now they have to use that space for health warning.
Yeah. Well, it's actually, they changed it because of the health warnings. Advertising didn't want their ad next to big cancer warnings, which like valid. But I think the way that I see advertising going is that I think we're going to see a break between the type of advertising we've seen in the past, right? I think a lot of advertising are a demographic who they're not advertising to, and there's that separation. I think when that generationally just kind of starts to even out a little bit more, we're going to start seeing less traditional campaign media and lifestyle campaigns. Right? Things that inundate themselves as a part of your everyday environment, as a part of your just like daily ecosystem, to me is the future of advertising. And like you see it a lot in TikTok, especially, where you see advertising from huge mega companies who act like they're an individual person, right? They no longer speak in the we language. Interact and
this
like make
a lot
comments.
On TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok is the worst for it. Like, and
TikTok hits
also
me
like they're
hard.
the interns. Right? Like they're the interns who are making these comments as if they're an individual person.
Or it'll be on their own account. Like, it's weird. Like, I follow, like, because I got hit with a sponsored ad, but it was like from someone's account, but they were literally like speaking as if they worked for the company. It was weird.
That's so weird.
I mean, TikTok hits me real hard with those like super collapsible, convenient kitchen decks, storage, cutting surface apparatuses. There's all kinds of them now, and I watch all of those reels start to goddamn finish. They have my number. They do.
Yeah, they know.
Really do.
They know. All that said, the future's scary. Just in general, sometimes. But what are your guys' biggest concerns for the future of advertising?
my biggest concern is that kind of Nelly pointed this out with the Venn diagram becoming a circle metaphor, is that like I guess that sort of is my greatest fear, is like the point where we'll no longer be able to differentiate between the media we're intending to consume and the advertising that's been filtered over it or into it. Because like at that point it's just like, is my existence only as an apparatus to sell things to? Like that's uncomfortable. That's really uncomfortable. And for me, my biggest pet peeve is the commercial where I don't know what I'm being sold. Like you see like flashes of like beaches, and there's Beyonce for some reason, and there's a horse running around, and it's for like, and it's for like a brake fluid or some shit.
Like that. Remember that Zoe Kravitz I don't even remember what the product was, but I just remember Zoe Kravitz was doing like ASMR. It might have been during the Super Bowl, and it was maybe it was like a
cotton. I think it was literally for cotton.
Maybe it was either for cotton or it was like
this is exactly my point.
Water company, but it was weird.
This is exactly the point. It's like it's not even about the product anymore. It's just about being able to occupy retail space in our brain. And I'm like, no, I need to remember birthdays and stuff.
Yeah. Well,
I think my biggest concern is that we're going to start learning the terrible impacts of advertising media, and that we're not about it, like any of the Facebook, like Congress, Senate, whatever hearing, and they were like, yeah, we like kind of do, but we didn't do anything about it. I'm just like, we're probably doing that with advertisement right now.